From deep, deep within the haunted pine barrens of New Jersey, it's Beatsville with your hosts, Mad Daddy and
Diabla. Because I can swim in the immense. Because I can swim in all forms. Because I am the launch woman. Because I am the sacred opossum. Because I am the Lord Opossum. I am the woman book that is beneath the water. I am the woman of the populous town. I am the shepherdess who is beneath the water. I am the woman who shepherds the immense. I am a shepherd, and I come with my shepherd. Because everything has its origin, and I am going from place to place from the origin.
Que Señor San Pedro, Fusalingi Tanaya, Fusalingi Chikunaya, San Pedro Naya, San Paulo Naya, Kamanaya Naya. Kataulanya Cristo Gapin hilisit ay nanyana ay Gapin imadingisit ay nanyay Gapin ilingi Cristo Gapin asalingi nay Sitinay niya kahmi Gapilanya dia sayang Gapilanya dia zokwim naai Kokati kisahnya naai Kokati kisahnya Kristo Gatikannya trong San Pedro na, Saint San Pedro na. Gate Caunianya, Señor San Pedro, Señor San Paulo.
Good evening. I like the way you wear your dress. Good evening. I like the way you smile. Good evening. I like your glassy look. Where's the wine? Where's the tea? Where are the earth people? Good evening. No, I've been away. San Quentin, class of 59. Good evening. And what do you carry in your basket? It's a crazy arrangement. His wife gets the house and car. He gets visiting hours with the chauffeur each week. No alimony, but a big fight over who gets custody of the poodles. Someone on the Chronicle said Robinson Jeffers is a beat. Are you ready? She teaches school, and you should see the kids she keeps after class. I think she goes for 16-year-olds because they never talk. Can you imagine one of them telling his old man how he passed algebra? No, baby. When I say tea, I mean orange pekoe and pekoe. But I tell you what, if you got any of those Mexican mushrooms, that's a kick I haven't tried. Baby, I don't turn on for anybody, not even you. But I'll tell you something. If you come home with me, you won't have to turn on. Oh, and wear the red dress. Nothing? I just dig the way it rides on you. Hello, Big John. Where's the mouse? You're kidding. Well, the last time she had him so bad they had to cut a fire trap through her blonde hair. Does she still mix kerosene with her peroxide? Steer clear of that chick. She's writing an expose called Beat Time USA, and she plans to sell it to MCA for a TV spectacular. They're already talking about June Allison and Charlton Heston starring in it, with Eric Nord doing the narration. You know, when the last article has been written, the last movie made, and the final rock and roll hit turned out about the Beat Generation, somewhere around 1965, I should think, will they finally let us out of the cage? Elsa says to really get to know someone, you have to hold their head while they vomit. And Elsa said, when I told her I liked Edith Sitwell's Facade, which one did she show you, my dear? No, I will not sign your petition. The last time I signed one of those things, I had the federal dick snooping around my pad for months. Go see Cranko. His paintings are on exhibit at the Spaghetti Factory, along with finger paintings by kindergarten students for a new edition of Leaves of Grass. Hey, let's do something bizarre, like walk into Vesuvio's in our underwear smoking black cigarettes. Crazy, and we'll throw pennies at the tourists. I'd like to meet the rich lady with the wart. She looks like she could use a friend. So could I. I'm a tourist too. What do you say for kicks we hop in your Volkswagen and tear off for Watsonville? I mean, can you imagine a more out place for two in people? I got eyes for a little fresh air anyway. Like, it's bar talk time, and this party's had it.
I had a little boat. I called it life. Once I went out and never came back. All of a sudden, there was a big wind and waves like mountains. Many things raced through my mind, and in the lonely chanting of the sea, I heard the echoes of eternity. And in the fantasy of cloud and sky, I saw the one who lives while all things die. And I was swallowed by the sea and lost in the deep and washed up on the shore. When I awakened, the storm was over and the sea was calm. It was strange and wonderful, like seeing the world and seeing through the world. And when I told the people in the village that I went out and never came back, they all laughed and called me the wanderer. And I laughed with them. They didn't know. They were the wanderers. And so I found my way and found my home on Eden's Island where the wind has been telling the truth forever and ever and ever.
Now, Gerald, I know you have great personal experience with lysergic acid. What do you think of it?
To do that in 2 minutes, eternity in an hour, it's almost impossible, of course, as all the patients say, to describe it. You can only say it isn't, it isn't, it isn't, trying to tell people what it is. Well, of course, I don't know any of our friends, Sid, that have taken it but haven't said this one thing in common. Well, I never knew anything like that in the whole of my life. And 1 or 2 people have said to me, I've said it to myself, that's what death is going to be like. And oh, what fun it will be.
How do you mean that?
Well, I mean that there are the colors and the beauties, the designs, the beautiful way things appear. People themselves, dull people that I thought dull, appear fascinating, interesting, mysterious, wonderful. But that's only the beginning. A man was saying it this afternoon who was taking it. Suddenly you notice that there aren't these separations, that we're not on a separate island shouting across to somebody else and trying to hear what they're saying and misunderstanding them. You know, you use the word yourself, empathy. This thing's flowing underneath. We're parts of a single continent. It meets underneath the water. And with that goes such delight, the sober certainty of waking bliss.
In 1957, mushroom researcher Gordon Wasson recorded a psilocybin mushroom ritual. It appears on LP as the mushroom ceremony of the Mazatec Indians, a selection which you just heard. Don't be concerned, old one. And that was Marina Sabina chanting there. She has since become a sacred shaman in Mexico, just beloved. And she today is notable for introducing the Western world to the psilocybin mushroom.
That's great.
And this LP itself is the first known published recording of people under the influence of psychedelic drugs. And that was followed by Rod McEwen doing What is a Fabian from the spoken word album Beatsville. And if you're wondering where Mad Daddy. Diablo got the name for the show. It's from that very cool, highly collectible album. One of the few Rod McEwen albums worth owning. Well, we think they're all worth owning for various reasons, but that's, I guess, the cultist collectibles favorite of them. And that's from 1959. And Rod was followed by Eden Albez doing La Mar from the Eden's Island LP released in 1960. That's an album of, well, I'd say, dreamy kind of songs that anticipates themes and moods that will later become popular during the psychedelic era. The front cover is very cool. It looks much like a hippie era artifact, worth picking up. Then, 1961, not a psychedelic song, but you have the early surf band, the Gamblers, doing LSD 25, which shows that psychedelics, among them LSD, were seeping into the public consciousness. And we concluded with philosopher Gerald Heard talking about LSD. And that's from a 3 LP spoken word set, Explorations Volume 2, in which he talks about rebirth and psychedelic and death and all making, what was the comment you liked he made?
My favorite piece was the comment where he said he liked to take the drugs because it made the boring people more interesting. And I think that we all need a little bit of that from time to time. Wouldn't you say, Mad Daddy?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Everyone needs a dose of LSD in their tea or coffee every morning. It would probably make the world a better place, no question. All right, all that said, we're going onward with our trip into the origins of the psychedelic.
It's some strange kind of place. Halfway house between oneself and something else.
Would you like to take it to a little bit more?
Do you think I should? Even if I went somewhere completely different, would that be the solution?
No.
Or the resistance
No,
to
no,
it?
that's
Yes, but it doesn't solve the problem of having to be completely oneself and completely something else at the same time, which is the whole secret of life, of course. If I took 10 more
yes,
of these
yes,
things,
yes,
and I would
right.
certainly sort of sail out into
Yeah.
the stratosphere, but is this the point?
No, of course not. That's why probably it's better to are where you are. You think that people do that too much to get in the stratosphere like that?
They want to escape. They want to take holidays from themselves, obviously. But
No, I was wondering about people like Timmy, that do this so much. Are they really fooling themselves, or are we that are fooled all the time by ourselves? I mean,
I think it's extremely important that people should break, but shown that they can break out of this thing, that they don't have to always live in this completely conditioned way. I mean, this obviously shows them something, and then they can go on from there in ordinary life, which is the only thing. Tim is all right. I mean, he's just sort of he's an Irishman banging around, but and I think he's doing a lot of good in a way.
Oh yes, I think so. I just wondered the other day when he was going so far with this guy.
Oh, well, he wants to be an ass. We all have to be forgiven for something. God, you forgive me.
What?
I hope you don't mind forgiving me.
I don't know very much.
You see, I don't know what to say. I mean, one does have to be not as completely boxed up in oneself as that cat is, and at the same time one has to be completely identical with God. I mean, there's nothing else. He's so free.
It's nice, isn't it?
Actually, he hasn't our problems, but he has his own.
yeah, body, oh yeah, oh. Body, yeah, body, oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey, body, yeah, oh bye, oh yeah. Body, yeah, glad about you, yeah, oh. Ah! Oh yeah, but look out! Hey, my God! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Rio! Day, Odea, 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 Odea,
was really wonderful to shotgun for him going down the road, because he'd be peeling an orange and rolling a joint and steering the bus and, carrying on about 4 conversations. And somehow or other, I, had to put in pertinent data about we're supposed to go left in a mile or something like this into this stream of wonder. It was on the eve of Lincoln's birthday. We had rented this huge warehouse in Watts. And I remember spending the first part of the evening on the microphone explaining to people that the Kool-Aid on the right is the electric Kool-Aid, and the Kool-Aid on the left is for kids. This was the eve that LSD became illegal, by the way. But people would finish dancing for 3 hours to the Grateful Dead, and anything wet was what they were swallowing, and not heeding my advice at all. And something wet could be about, 100 mics a swallow. So at a certain point, everybody started to go into a meltdown kind of situation. And this one girl started freaking out, and she's going, "Who cares? Who cares?" So I set off in my quest for the Who Cares girl, and eventually found her in a little side room. And as I found her, there were also about 25 other people who had found her, and we made a circle around her, and we joined hands. The minute we joined hands, we turned into jewels and light. She turned into jewels and light, and I got it. That when you come to the very bottom of the human soul, where the knit hits the grit and you're sinking, but if you reach out to help somebody who's sinking worse than you are, everybody's going to get high. And I don't even think you have to have acid around to do it. What we were trying to establish is the interconnectedness of everything, the fact that we're all the star. And I think we pulled that off pretty well. People that you meet had shoes upon their feet and something to eat. And wouldn't it be fine now if all humankind had shelter? Basic human needs, basic human deeds, doing what comes naturally down in the garden. When no one is apart, deep down in the garden of your heart.
I have to wait? Or can I get you now? Or must I hesitate? I was born in Pennsylvania, I was raised in France. I'm a dirty old man and I wear silk pants. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Or can I get you now? Or must I hesitate? I'm a jackhammer man in a jackhammer town, and I hammer on my hammer till the sun goes down. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Or can I get you now? Or must I hesitate? I'll take it, Slim.
Texas, also Tennessee. If you don't like my feet, just stop shaking my tree. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Or can I get you now? I must hesitate. It's a D for Dreadnought, a D for Destiny, a D for New G that made a fool of me. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Or can I get you now? I must hesitate. Got my psychedelic feet in my psychedelic shoes. I believe Lord and Mama got the psychedelic blues. Tell me how long do I have to wait? Or can I get you now? I must hesitate.
This is Mad Daddy and Diablo here on Beatsville, giving you a timeline of the origin of the psychedelic. And we began our journey in set 2 with Aldous Huxley on acid with his wife moderating. And that was inspired after a talk he gave in London with British reporter John Chandos in July of '61. And that was followed by Alan Watts from This Is It LP. And that cut was, I'm going to try to pronounce this, Umdagum Sabudu. And for those of you who don't know Alan Watts, he was an author and philosopher. And the This Is It album is regarded by many as the first genuinely psychedelic album. It consists mainly, as you can hear, of improvised music and chanting. All right, then we had Hugh Romney, the activist and comedian, giving us a bit of talk on the Watts acid tests and more. And that was inspired by an album he released in August of '62, Third Stream Humor, a spoken word comedy LP recorded live in Greenwich Village. And it's important is because it's frequently surreal, and it has explicit references to, Mexican agriculture and dope and many more strange things.
I love this stuff, Mad Daddy, because of the times, because as Bob Dylan said, the times they were changing, because the times were changing from the 50s to the 60s, kind of going from one era to the other. I mean, things were just kind of right out there, open, and people were doing all kinds of stuff, and it's really great. It was not formulaic like you see today. It was really interesting.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Like in '63 here, the members of the Boston folk scene came into contact with psychedelic drugs, and notably the Jim Cuskin Jug Band was instrumental in getting the psychedelic experience out into the folk world, and from there it just spread. And in the middle of that year, June of '63, you had Sandy Bull releasing Fantasias for Guitar and Banjo, which can be seen as presaging psychedelia, and that was Carmina Burana Fantasy from that album. And if you don't know Sandy Bull, a true musical visionary, way ahead of his time. The debut album and everything he did is worth purchasing. In April of '64, Bob Dylan had his first LSD experience, yes, and that's what many see as the inspiration behind not only Chimes of Freedom, but the double album Blonde on Blonde. Now, the final cut was the Holy Modal Rounders doing Hesitation Blues from the 1964 LP Eponymous. And so you may ask the album why we include it there. Well, it contains the first known use of the word psychedelic on a pop or folk record. And you've got the lines referring to psychedelic feet and psychedelic shoes. And instead of suffering from the hesitation blues, the modal rounders complain about being afflicted with psychedelic blues. So that takes us through September of 1964 as we move into set 3.
Whoa, I think I'm gonna sigh. Whoa, I think I'm gonna cry. Oh, baby, I just know I'm gonna die. Whoa, about the things you do, whoa, that make me feel so blue. Oh, baby, don't you know that I love you? Well, you don't seem to realize the implications, so I'm gonna have to tell you for your information. You're filling my life with complications. Don't have any consideration for me. Whoa, about the things you do, that make me feel so blue. Oh, baby, don't you know that I love you? Whoa, I'm gonna wear it frown. Why? Because I've been brought down, and I know, baby, oh, you've been running around all over town. If you keep up with this allegation, don't you know, baby, you're gonna lose your station and ruin your reputation. At least have some consideration for me, for me. Whoa, about the things you do, whoa, that make me feel so blue. Oh, baby, don't you know that I love you? Whoa, I'm gonna wear a frown. Why? Because I've been brought down, and I know, baby, you've been running around all over town. If you keep up with this avocation, don't you know, babe, you're gonna lose your station and ruin your reputation. At least have some consideration for me, for me, for me. Whoa, about the things you do, oh, that make me feel so blue. Oh, baby, don't you know that I love you? Whoa, I think I'm gonna sigh. Whoa, I think I'm gonna cry. No, baby, I just know I'm gonna die. Oh, baby, I know I'm gonna die. Oh, baby, I just know I'm gonna die.
Summertime's here, kiddies, and it's time to take a trip. To take a trip. This world's so bad. You feel so sad. You gotta take a trip into a world so glad. A world of frogs and green fountains and flying walls of glass that never passed, and pictures hanging upside down. You won't ask where you are. It's another world. You and your girl and all your friends will all be there. Oh yeah. Let's take a trip. Let's take a trip. TNT, SOS, HOP, TOP. Top. It's top. Hey, here we go now. Let's climb some mountains, everybody. Get on your walking shoes. Start to climb some mountains. Hey, here we go. Let's take a trip. Let's take a trip. Let's start to dream. Let's close our eyes. It's groovy now. Yeah. Float. Because I'm swimming in beauty. It's all around. Let's take a trip. Fly from the ground. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah. Let's take a trip. It's really him. No one will know what goes on. Just you and me. And the dreams we see. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, come on, baby. You're doing it right. Just put your head back.
I'm sad.
I went to a party the other night. I wanted to feel my brain was light. I grabbed myself a bottle and I started drinking wine. I thought pretty soon I'd be feeling fine, but I couldn't get high. Couldn't get high. I threw down the bottle and I whipped out my pipe and I stuffed it full of grass and I gave myself a light. I puffed, I smoked and I choked. After a while, my heart was nearly broke because I couldn't get high. Couldn't get high. I threw down my pipe as mad as I could be, and I gobbled up a cube of LSD. I waited 30 minutes for my body to sing. I waited and I waited, but I couldn't get a thing. I couldn't get high. Couldn't get high. I couldn't get high. No, no, why? Yeah. I couldn't get high. Thought I would die. Wanted to try, but I couldn't get high. Well, look at that one.
Now once I had a little game. I like to crawl back in my brain. I think you know the game I mean. Well, I mean the game. I go insane. Oh! You should try this little game. Just close your eyes, forget your name, forget the world, forget the people, and we'll erect a different steeple. This little game is fun to do. Just close your eyes. I'm going to, and I'm right here. No way to lose. Release control. We're breaking through. The
Okay, we're back here to give you the timeline rundown of the origin of the psychedelic. Now, many will dispute what we're doing here because we're leaving out what they think were important moments in the history of psych, but it's our show and our timeline. So in 64-65, musicologist Harry Smith records several hours of chants and songs from Native American peyote rituals in Oklahoma. That comes out on a 3 LP set entitled The Kiowa Peyote Meeting. In 65, in the spring, a band named the Psychedelic Rangers, including future Doors drummer John Densmore, was released in Los Angeles. Released, I'd say they formed the band. I don't think they ever released anything. But it's the first known instance, Diablo, of a rock and roll band referring to itself as psychedelic.
Ooh.
In April of 65, John Lennon and George Harrison take LSD for the first time when their after-dinner coffee is spiked by London dentist John Riley. McCartney wouldn't take it until March 67. In April of 65 over here, Brian Wilson takes LSD for the first time and devises California Girls while tripping.
Oh.
The song isn't included on this set because it's not really psychedelic. Now, this is very cool. Very, very cool. In June 29, 1965, the Charlatans make their debut at the Red Dog Saloon in Virginia City, Nevada. This is the first known instance of a band playing rock music under the influence of LSD. And many in the audience supposedly were tripping as well. This event is commonly seen as the birth of the psychedelic concert poster. And what you heard here was the song number 1 from the Autumn Demos recorded in August 1965. That was an EP. And that was Kim Fowley. Yes, Kim Fowley following with The Trip, a 45. And that's notable for being the first, obviously, LSD-inspired record. Then a pair of songs, the Kinks doing See My Friend and the Yardbirds, Still I'm Sad. Obviously psychedelic songs, don't you think, Diablo?
I think so.
But they're considered accidental psych because the bands weren't taking psychedelics at this point, supposedly, and their intent, how do we know what their intent was really, was not to be psychedelic.
But they obviously were influenced by something they heard.
Those are psychedelic as it gets for the time. That was in July 1965. Both those cuts were released. And then we had the Fugs doing I Couldn't Get High from their debut album, the Fugs' first LP. And this is a song which explicitly mentions LSD, the first known instance of the drug appearing in a rock lyric. And in August of 65, the Matrix Clubs opens in San Francisco with performances by the Jefferson Airplane. And let's see, we finish up with the Doors doing Go Insane. That was from an acetate, never released. And 3 of the band members had taken LSD at this point. Now, you might recognize that as a primitive version of the Celebration of the Lizard, which was later recorded on the double LP, The Doors Live. Many people don't like that song or that collection of song fragments because it's largely incoherent and the musical pieces really don't fit together, but it's an excellent example of incoherence being made to sound profound if you sing it and say it like you mean it, which Jim Morrison clearly does. Time to move into set 4, Diablo. Let's go trippin'.
She once had me. She showed me her room. Isn't it good? Norwegian wood. She asked me to stay and she told me to sit anywhere. So I looked around and I noticed there wasn't a chair. I sat on the rug
On the Firefly platform on sunny Good Street, a violent hash smoker shook a chocolate machine, involved in an eating scene, smashing into neon streets in their stoneness, smearing their eyes on the crazy colored goddess, listening to sounds of Mingus mellow fantastic. My, they sigh. My, they sigh. In dollhouse rooms with colored light swinging, strange music boxes sadly tinkling, drinking the sun shining all around you. My, they sigh. My, they sigh. The magician, he sparkles in satin and velvet. You gaze at his splendor with eyes you've not used yet. I tell you his name is love, love, love. My, they sigh. My, they sigh. My, sigh.
Ain't it hard when you go out
we began the four-set trip with Norwegian Wood from the Beatles, containing elements close to psychedelic. But at least two of the band members at this point had taken LSD. The track appears on Rubber Soul, which was released in December. That was followed by Donovan doing Sunny Gooch Street from his Fairy Tale LP. The album's important because it contains hints of psychedelic experimentation. October 30, 1965 was the LP's release date. In November of 65, the first acid test is arranged in La Honda, California by Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters. Yeah, local band The Warlocks, soon to be renamed The Grateful Dead, perform at the event. Yes. And then we played, from November 1965, the Gypsy Trips, doing Ain't It Hard of 45 on World Pacific. And why do we have that here? Well, just listen to it, Diablo, as you did. It includes lines that refer to acid, but very trippy, very acidy. In November of 65, Hugh Romney, Wavy Gravy, and Del Close put on a Lysergic A Go-Go show in Los Angeles, as reported in the LA Free Press. And you'll like this, Diablo. That same month, members of the 13th Floor Elevators take LSD and form the band in Austin, Texas, with the explicit intention of making acid-inspired music. Yeah. And in December 4th, 1965, the Great Society recorded Free Advice and Someone to Love, which you heard here in San Francisco. December of 1965, Donovan records Sunshine Superman, and you don't get any weirder than that, except if you're the Byrds. In December of 22, they record the first version of 8 Miles High. And in January of 66, the words psychedelic rock appear on the 13th Floor Elevator's business card. This is the first known use of the term. All right. January 21st, 1966, the 3-day multimedia Trips Festival is held in San Francisco. Use of psychedelic drugs is rampant. All right. The event is widespread, and it marks the birth of a coherent San Francisco psychedelic movement. And then we finished with the February 66 release, the Jefferson Airplane, doing the B-side here, Running Around the World. There was a line about spending nights tripping, just a line. RCA censored it, pulled it from release. So we already have too much of this getting out there, and you have the Great Society, not the band, making sure we're suppressing experimentation. What a surprise in the great old US of A. All right, Diabla, would you please be so kind as to tell our listeners how they can reach us?
Hello, lovely listeners. We are coming at you directly from Beatsville with sounds to feed your brain and reinvigorate your soul every week on Mixcloud.com at Beatsville and internet-radio.com at Beatsville. Like us on Facebook at Beatsville. Find us on BeatsvilleBlog.com for the best and worst that has been thought and said in worldwide culture. Contact us at maddaddyanddiabla@gmail.com. Send us suggestions, music, and anything else that Mad Daddy and Diabla will dig. Finally, please peruse Mad Daddy's wigged out art brood exercises on artpal.com at Beatsville.
Thank you, Diabla. Now, further into set 5.
Shapes of things before my eyes just teach me to despise. Will time make man more wise? Here within my lonely frame, my eyes just hurt my brain, but will it seem the same? Come tomorrow, will I be older? Come tomorrow. destroy these lands. Don't make them desert sands. Come tomorrow, will I be older? Come tomorrow, may be a soldier. Come tomorrow, may I be bolder than today.
Do you remember me? I'm the one you talk about. Do you remember me? I'm the one you booted out. No matter what in the world you do, hey, I'll always be in love with you. No matter what in the world you say, girl, I'm gonna love you anyway. Do you remember when you said that I was your true love, and you take care of me and watch me like the stars above? No matter what in the world you do, hey, I'll always be in love with you. No matter what in the world you say, girl, I'm gonna love you anyway. I just gotta get played one time for everybody now. No matter what in the world you do, hey, I'll always be in love with you. No matter what in the world you say, girl, I'm gonna love you anyway. I just gotta get played one time for the world now. No matter what in the world you do, hey, I'll always be in love with you. No matter what in the world you say, girl, I'm gonna love you anyway. I said I'm gonna love you anyway. You know I'm gonna love you anyway.
We still got it going. The crossover once means that we can slip back and forth because we are once again
Blurred the edges a little.
teleported above the past into the present and sometimes tickling the toes of the future.
And the doctor will be in here in a moment. I want
They
you to
said
examine his suture.
At the last scientific meeting I presided over, but these are astounding facts that cannot be dealt with in any man of the 20th century. Perhaps if he were seeing visions like, say, somebody in the past of Jules Verne, I'd say.
But he can do it quick and say that the thing will bleed to death before tomorrow.
Either the 23rd century, perhaps far
beyond any kind of our existence, as you might say, physical reality. Because at times the voice goes out and comes back just a slight second delay, and it does just enough, just barely enough, that we might, with a little bit of deliberate effort, crack and bind and snarl this whole single tract and slightly insane logic into a manner of speaking which our children could understand. It is for the children's sake only, for God's sakes, that I
Get him
want
off of there! Get him off of there now, I say. Do you want the kids hearing this? Look at him up there.
understanding the secrets of space and time. The third eye.
The Yardbirds, in February of '66, released The Shape of Things 45. Again, the intent was not strictly psychedelic. I don't know how they can say that listening to that song. That's as psychedelic as it gets. February 10th, 1966, a review of a 13th floor elevators gig in a local Texan newspaper has the heading Diablo, Unique Elevators Shine with Psychedelic Rock.
Ah.
Yes, this is the first documented media reference to psychedelic rock music. In March of '66, Love released their very trippy self-titled debut LP, which we heard here. That's No Matter What You Do from the debut LP. March of '66, we're still in the same month, the Acid Test LP that has Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters. That's released in San Francisco. The contents and packaging are quote-unquote 100% lysergic. And we heard Trip X. Then, what many consider to be the first psychedelic single, The Byrds released 8 Miles High on a Columbia 45. Reached number 14 in the U.S., so that's pretty cool. Let's see. March '66, John Lennon records demos for what was to become She Said, She Said, a clearly LSD-influenced song. And in March 16th, 1966, a live recording was made of the 13th floor elevators performing psychedelic material like Roller Coaster. And then we finished the set here with the Dovers from California and their Third Eye, a clearly psychedelic 45, and one of the earliest attempts at actually reproducing Diablo, the LSD experience on tape.
Wow.
So there you go. With that said, the final set, and it's the Pretty Things leading off with LSD.
Everybody's talking about my LSD. I say talk is easy. Well, you wake up in the morning with your eyes on fire, and you go to bed what I see. On the street below, faces hanging low from my room, I see them die, traveling into darkness. Day by day, children play, chasing dreams away with the games they play. As I sit and watch them grow, I see all their faces. Faces tell me what you've seen. Faces tell me what you mean. Going free, laughing, crying, living, dying. Do you see the faces? Faces tell me what you've seen. Faces tell me what you mean.
In your search for happiness and youth, do not neglect these words of truth. The most perfect love you'll ever find can but only come from peace of mind. So see yourself as others do, and then you'll know what's best for you.
And you always find too much to fall, and you wanna die, pick it up, just like I showed you and find out why. Alone after you can't come down, if I want to come down, down you, it's true not to. Pick it up, It's here, it's here. It's gone, the love I thought I had seen. It's gone, it's gone. I'm feeling sorry for only me. I don't for you or you for me. What happened? Where did I fall? I wanted you, wanted all. My dark rainstorm now begins. It's here, it's here. As daylight comes and darkness ends. It's gone, it's gone. I sit alone and contemplate with all my fears and love and hate. I don't know what I'm doing here. My mind is hazy, not too clear. Love, was that you? Love, are you true? Were you for real? I feel blind, I don't want your kind. It's not there to feel. I don't think you're real. Future straight ahead to be misled. But as I stare into the past, I know somehow there I will rest.
April 66, The Pretty Things doing LSD. Well, actually, the label said pound SD, but you hear them. It's LSD throughout.
A clever disguise.
A very clever disguise. And in May of 66, the Electric Prunes released their debut 45 with the Gypsy Trips, which we heard on set 4. And it's Ain't It Hard. Contains reference to acid in the lyrics. Such lyrics rare at this early stage. And then on May 30th, 66, the Beatles released Rain on the flip side of their paperback writer 45. And what we've got here is droney, Eastern tinge sound and backwards tape effects, making it clearly the Beatles' most psychedelic LP thus far.
And Mad Daddy, if you look at the sound waves from these various songs, the interesting thing about the Beatles is that the left side is very different from the right side. So they weren't just doing that equal left-right
no balancing, really.
Balancing of the stereo sound. They were actually doing something completely different, which again, I think elevates the Beatles above everyone else and also made their songs much more interesting.
Yeah, that's the, I think, problem with a lot of pop music of the Beatles were clearly more than that. The arrangements are so important. You know, what you add, even just small elements can make all the difference between a masterpiece as opposed to something that, you know, while clever in its own right, just doesn't hold up. The Beatles, with everything they did, at least after their first 2 or 3 albums, just wonderful. They realized that. every second of every song is important. Okay, that was followed by the Minneapolis band TC Atlantic releasing their Faces 45, a song way ahead of its time, and today considered one of the finest garage psych songs ever recorded. Also, in the June of that year, you had the West Coast pop art experimental band. They started gigging in Los Angeles with the first psychedelic light show. And then we concluded with Euphoria doing Pick It Up and In Time. Now, bear with me. The reason they're important is they sojourned to Austin to pick up on that crazy psychedelic Austin sound, and they had some members of a band that had played with the 13th Floor Elevators join their band, help them record a couple of sides, and as you can hear, it's very trippy, very psychedelic. But the importance of this band is they brought this sound back to LA, and from there it percolated underground and eventually came to the surface.
And the rest is history.
And the rest, really is history. So, all that being said, we're in Beatsville, and this is Mad Daddy and
Diabla
saying good night from Beatsville.